Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, September 14th, 2015. What's going on? How are you? I know what you guys are expecting. They're probably expecting me to talk shit about the Patriots winning and the Steelers crying about the headsets or whatever the hell they were crying about this week. Why does everybody... You know what I love about Giants fans? They never bitch about the Patriots. They just beat us. All the rest of you fucking sit there crying every week. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. I have a very special guest here, one of my favorite all-time comedians of all time. But first, I have to read his amazing intro here. Brian Regan, everybody, is going to be performing live at Radio City Music Hall. And the first time ever in the history of Comedy Central. Brian, you might as well talk at this point. I've already said.
Yes.
How many specials would you guess that Comedy Central has in their mountain?
Wow, I probably quite a few, but
7, 8 million.
Yeah, 7 to 8 million. I think is.
well, this one.
I'm going to bet on the over. I'm going to say it's 9 million.
9 million. I like that. 9 million specials. This is the first guy who's ever had the nerve to tape a stand-up special live on Comedy Central, and he's going to be doing it, let me see if I can, on September 26th at 9 p.m. live from one of the most legendary venues of all time, Radio City Music Hall. I'm looking at the whole press release. You got 5 stars from Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Dennis Miller, Joe Rogan, Patton Oswalt, the Mark Maron, the who's who, and we all love you, man. You've been. What's it like to have been a comic for a quarter of a century?
It's a huge honor, man. You know, when making audiences laugh is great, makes you feel good, but to also, make the comedians feel like you're doing the right thing, that makes you feel even better.
I know my fun in this podcast is going to be torturing you with compliments, because I can tell. That was the most uncomfortable I've ever seen you. Hey, what's it like to be a legend, Brian? Talk about being a legend. I'd say...
I'll go right into a bombing story. Let me tell you how about when I bombed, and that wasn't so legendary.
No, man, I've been doing this shit for 23 years. I'm old now. I am an old man now. I know that every time when I try to do stand-up out in Silver Lake. I'm not saying the kids are bad. It's just I definitely feel like, wow, man, I feel like that generation gap. But you've been since I started, for those people unfamiliar who've been living under a stand-up comedy rock, like Brian basically goes out and for 90 straight minutes, it sounds like a jet is landing, how hard this guy kills. And and unlike me, you couldn't be the more polar opposite of me. I don't even think you say heck.
No, sure I do.
You say that, but
yeah.
Okay, but still.
I know I do some hecks and some dams.
But dude, your act is airtight. No one can be like, oh, he's just what? He's just writing perfect jokes. I'm sorry, Brian. I hate to torture you with this, but there's no other way to go with this. You're an absolute master.
You're very kind, very incredibly kind, and I cannot thank you enough. That's very
no eye contact. No eye contact. Yeah, and I remember. I'm going to keep going here. I remember when I first started headlining in the late '90s. The legend back then was when you booked Brian Regan, you would do 2 shows in one night, and you would do 2 completely hour-plus. Totally clean, absolutely destroying sets. You had the A set and the B set, and you had there was always this urban myth. He's got 2 notebooks. They're both filled up. One's the first show and one's the second show. The guy's got 2 hours and 40 minutes of A-level material.
I called it the Idiot and the Oddity.
Oh,
those were the two shows. They were 2 different 1-hour shows, and I would go to a comedy club for a month. And I would alternate them. And the idea was if somebody came out and they liked what they saw, they go, wow, he's got another one. Maybe we'll come back and see the other show as well. So
now, did that come about? Because back then, when you were coming up, you had to be anointed to do a special. And nowadays, you just need somebody with the camera, and you can put it up however you wanted. Back in the day, HBO had to say, you know what, you're one of the 6 people that we're picking this year, or I didn't even think Comedy Central was really making too many specials back then. So I was just wondering, did you wrote a special at that point? did you just say to hell with it, I'll just keep writing? Like, how did you end up with that much material at one time?
Actually, well, just because I'm always trying to write stuff, but it came about because, do you remember when people were starting to do the one-man shows?
Oh, yeah.
Like Rob Becker defending the caveman, they would take stand-up and then kind of make it into a little story with a beginning, middle, and an end. And
take out a few laughs. You sit down behind a desk.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Becker's is great, but there were a lot that were just, seemed like kind of repackaged stand-up, and people were telling me, well, you should do a one-man show. You should do a one-man show. And I'm like, I like stand-up. I like the way stand-up works. I don't want to do a joke and then have a serious point and then walk across the stage and have a tear come out of my eye.
Sort of dramatic lighting.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what's so funny? I just totally relate to that because I've had so many people where, like, my dream was always, if I could sell out improvs. That was the dream. If I could just go to me, when I was starting out, when somebody said, "Oh, I have a gig in Houston this week," or "I'm in Minneapolis this week," like, to me, there was nothing cooler than that. Like, this guy gets to get on a plane and fly, and people know who he is, and he gets to go in there. And back then you get to wear the sport coat, right? And you get to go out and be a comedian. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I don't know how you feel about this, but whenever. You could have, like, the greatest special ever, and then they're always just like, any TV, any movie, like, it's always looked at, it's got this weird thing where stand-up is really respected by people, but then it's also looked at as just like this stepping stone into, doing like a sitcom or being some sort of actor or something like that. And I always thought, like, no, dude, this is the thing. This is the thing. It always will be the thing. I can't get fired from this. I'm always going to be employed, and it happens in real time. There's no cut. Let's go back and do it again, and you're sitting in a trailer for 14 hours.
Yeah, it's, there are, a few people who like it as an end result. I don't say a few. There are a lot of people who love stand-up comedy, but yes, for a lot of people, it's a stepping stone to get into acting, to get into a TV show or movies, and that's great. But I like it as it is, and... people do always ask about the thing you don't have,
Yeah.
I just remember for years, people coming up to me, have you ever done the Tonight Show or whatever? And when I hadn't, and like, no, I haven't done that. And,
you should call Jay.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. No, the first year I was working at the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale, I worked in the kitchen, I would, like, cook burgers. They would let me go on stage at the end of the night. And a guy came up to me after a show and said, Rodney Dangerfield is playing down the road at the Sunrise Musical Theater. He goes, why don't you go down there and open for him instead of this? Like all it took is me to just know where the theater was. Like, I just walked down there.
Oh, is he in town?
Where is it? That way? So I just go down there and I open for him in a theater?
You just show with your apron, your greasy apron.
I'm such a moron. I'm working in a kitchen here in a comedy club. I could go right down the road and open for Rodney Dangerfield. Thanks for the suggestion.
But you know what's funny? In a way, that mentality is how I got into this business, was because I wanted to be a comedian. I didn't dare say it out loud, but I didn't think it was possible. Because, like, when I was thinking about doing it, which is like the late 80s, started in the early 90s, but the late 80s I first started thinking about it. But there wasn't any YouTube. There was none of that crap. So to me, I was living in Massachusetts. Show business was 3,000 miles away. Like, it just seemed impossible. And then I was working in a warehouse with this guy, and he was just going like, dude, one of these nights, and he, like, staying up like where I did. He goes, one of these nights I'm going to take a shot at Jack Daniels, and I'm just going to go down to an open mic down the street, and, and just go up on stage. And all of a sudden I was just like, oh,
wow.
You can just do that? I thought I had to, like, get my teeth capped and moved out to L.A. and get a fake tan. Like, I had no idea how to. So I always have, like, a panic attack when I think about that. I go, thank God I worked with that guy. And thank God that he said that. And he took it out of seeming like, it was like the Milky Way away. He like, made it like, yeah, just go right down the street. You just.
Did that guy ever do it?
I don't know, because we worked together for such a short period of time. I have no idea. That's the only reason why I don't like telling that story, because then people are like, did that guy end up doing it? Oh, whatever happened to him? He's probably like some zillionaire banker. I'm sure, sitting by a pool, loving his wife and kids and his dog, just totally happy. But it's just immediate. He didn't do what you did in life, so he must not be happy.
When I first decided I wanted to be a stand-up, the only comedy clubs were in Los Angeles and New York. I was in college in Tiffin, Ohio, and I knew I wanted to do stand-up. This was before...
What year? What year was this?
1980. This is going way back, man.
Right.
And so I knew I wanted to do it, but comedy had not yet, exploded. It was only in those two cities. So I was gearing up to having to move to New York City. I'm like, I didn't know what was going on.
So what I thought I had to do in 92, you actually had to do in 80.
That's what... yes. And then I went back down to South Florida, which is where I grew up, and I opened up the Miami Herald, and there's an ad in the Miami Herald for grand opening for the Comic Strip Comedy Club in Fort Lauderdale. It says, sister club of the famous comedy club in New York City, open mic night, Monday night. And I'm like, damn, like it could not have been more beautifully perfect. Like, I don't have to move.
Right.
I don't have to move to New York City. I can just fill up the car with gas and go up to Fort Lauderdale and try it. And so it became so much more attainable when I saw that ad, and that's where I started.
That's amazing. I had a very similar thing. I made a New Year's resolution in 1992 that at some point in the calendar year of 1992, I was going to do an open mic. That's how shut down and shy I was. I was so nervous about it. And the second I said that, within 2 weeks in the school paper, the Emersonian, I went to Emerson College, it said, Nick's Comedy Stop. I had a contest. It was an ad, find Boston's funniest college student.
Wow.
And the whole thing was just to pack the club with a bunch of drunk kids, buying drinks, watching their friends bomb. So I immediately, I bought the paper. Might even been free, I think. I can't even remember. It was a school paper. I think it was free. And then I brought it home, and I just immediately called the phone number before I chickened out. And I was just like, I want to do an open mic. And I remember so many kids from Emerson signed up that they actually gave us 2 nights. So I was supposed to go on at the end of the last Monday in February. And then they called up. They said they had overflow. Would you want to do the first Monday in March? And I was like, okay, just to put it off. And then I hung up, and I felt like I pussied out. And but very a similar thing. So
yeah, I mean, it's weird how things will leap out at you. I mean, that, all the all the ads in the world, for fast food places and hotels, and that ad for that comedy club, jumped off the page to me. It was like, holy shit, man. It was just perfect. And then I went there.
So it's 1980. So you went down there. So tell me about your first, when you went on stage.
Well, actually, they wanted you to get there early to draw numbers. So I had to make the hour drive. I was still living with my parents in Miami. I make the hour drive up there, and I get there, I don't know, 6 and 5.
Did they know you were going to try it? Your parents?
I don't know if I may have told my parents, but I didn't tell anybody.
Me too. I didn't tell anybody.
I don't tell nobody nothing. You know what I mean?
That was like a mob hit.
Yeah. It's like, I want to go up there, and if I bomb, nobody's going to know about this till the day I die.
Brian, you seem so quiet. What's wrong?
Well, no, I just nothing, What are you doing this year? I'm just getting a little dressed up and leaving the house. So I go up there. And there were 20 comedians that had to draw numbers. You had to draw numbers for your time slot. I didn't know what any of this meant. And I drew, I guess, a good number. I had a sweet spot right in the middle. And then right after the drawing, all these other open micers who had done it before, I guess it had been open a month, came up and said, I'll trade you. I'll trade you my number for your number. And all I knew is whatever I was holding was valuable, and I wasn't trading it for nothing.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, they want this, so I'm keeping it. So I went on, and what they had 3 co-headliners. It was very weird. And then they stuck the open micers up in the middle. I went on right in the middle of the show, and I just completely blanked out on stage, just complete wipe out, blank, could not remember anything. And
when did you realize that? Walking towards the stage, or when you got up and turned and faced him?
What happened was I had every word memorized. I had "Hi, how are you?" written down.
Which hand you were going to wave with?
Everything. I had "Hi, how are you?" written down and memorized. I walk on stage, and that's the first time I realized how bright these lights are. Like, I'm like wigging out that I can't see a soul. And then I started to say, "Hi, how are you?" in the microphone, and there was feedback. I was too close. I went, "Hi, how are you?" You know?
Oh, no.
So I did my first ad lib. I said, well, I've already learned one thing. I don't know how to work a microphone. And it got a laugh.
Oh, nice.
And then my brain just shut off.
Oh, because you didn't, you know what?
Because I had memorized, "Hi, how are you?" to the next thing. And when I ad-libbed,
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was supposed to go after that. And so they laughed at my ad-lib, well, I don't know how to work a microphone. They laughed. And I'm standing there going, I don't know. I blanked out. Blankety blank.
How long before you...
I stood there for about 10 seconds.
Which seemed like 9 years.
It was like an eternity. And I said, well, you're not going to believe this, folks, but I forgot my act. And they laughed. And I said, no, I'm serious. And they laughed. It was like a Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah, but you learn in honesty works.
And I started ad-libbing about how stupid I was for not being able to remember my act. I went, this is great. I spent all this time and effort trying to figure out something, and I can't remember nothing, just off the top of my head. And I started killing. And I started killing, rolling about how stupid I was.
Were you able to enjoy killing, or are you so panicky?
I enjoyed it. I knew enough to go, well, all I want is laughs. You know what I mean? And I'm just winging it, talking about what an idiot I am and how this drive I made and all this stuff memorized, and I can't remember a single thing, and I crushed, at least in my mind.
Yeah, for an open mic, dude, that's crushing.
And then I said, well, I can't see myself ever remembering any of it, so good night. And then I got this big hand.
That's fucking great.
I walked off stage, and then like the headliners, one of them came up to me and said that was a great routine about how you pretended to blank out. I said, I didn't pretend. They said, that you really were winging that? And I was like, yeah. But I was like in a fog.
And what did he say? You should definitely come back. Was he a supportive guy?
Yeah, I forget who it was, but he was supportive. He said it was really funny, and so what was great for me is that my next time I went, I remembered my act and just ate it.
That's hilarious.
But I had the memory of knowing how to make people laugh from the first time that just kept fueling me to just keep going back and trying.
What do you think would have happened if you just did your act and that first thing didn't happen, you completely ate it? Did you have it? You think you had it in you to keep coming back?
I don't know. I've talked to other comedians about this, and I what's weird to me is that most comedians I talk to say that their very first time on stage, they did well, and then didn't do well the second time or third time. And I wonder how many potentially good comedians out there, it didn't go well and just said, hell with it.
Now they're working at a Home Depot, just crushing it every day.
Right.
This is the funniest guy I've ever met in my life.
And they just, and I truly wonder how many people have just had the bad experience and go, I need this like I need a hole in the head, So
I know, because the my first two were, I did Nick's, the talent thing, and went okay. And then I did Stitches Comedy Club, and did okay. And those are both comedy clubs. But the first time I did a room that wasn't a comedy club, I've told this story a zillion times on the podcast, but it was Jack Lynch had this room, Kelly's something or other, and it was some bar, and I went up and I absolutely just ate it, wire to wire. I said on the microphone, Jack, I'm bailing. I said that to the host, and all the comedians went, like they collectively were like disappointed in me that I quit, and I hated myself. And I remember, but I would say it never dawned on me to quit. Maybe it was because I did well those first two times, but I just never, I was just like, all right, well, what can I do to avoid that?
Right.
that awful feeling again. But you know what's funny? When I finally started getting a little bit funny, I actually was doing one of your mannerisms, and people kept giving me shit, going, "You're stealing from Brian." This is like I'm 2-3 years in.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
going like, "No, I'm not. Your crouch thing that you do." I was so influenced by you because I had seen you. Like, first of all, everybody was freaking out when you were coming to play Nick's Comedy Stop, and everyone was going, "Dude, Brian Regan's coming. You ever heard of Brian Regan?" And I was like, yeah, I'd seen him I'd seen you a couple times on TV. It's like, you got to see this guy. And it's like every comic in Boston was going, you got to see this guy. And I was like, I'm doing a Dick Doherty's room. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Finish your set and drive in here. And I came in and I caught your second set. I still remember you wearing this red button-down shirt. You went on stage and you were killing so hard, like, people wiping tears away, like falling into the aisles and stuff. And it was just so, like, you were probably the first big comic, like, traveling comic. You came in, you followed all the Boston heavy hitters, because you know how they used to love sticking, some legendary headliner with all the local references in the feature act to try and bury you. And then you went up totally clean, and it was a combination of watching you murdering and then seeing all the comics that I respected, like, turning into, like, audience members. And they were doing that laugh, like loving stand-up and then being like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? And that's when you were doing, like, the prescription lens windshield thing and all that. It was an amazing thing. And I
appreciate it,
and
man.
I was so influenced by that I started doing, I acted out. I was doing like a little bit of, when I would go into a punchline, I would, like, drop down a little bit. And it took me, I did that for about maybe 8 months to a year. I was doing that. And it took me about 7 years to get that stink off of me. People go, nah, he's stealing from Regan. He's stealing from Regan. And I was just like, I was 2 years in. I didn't know what I was doing.
we got to learn from something. We got to watch it.
Yes.
But that's just a huge honor, and thank you very much.
So I was doing you a little bit, and then fortunately I had guys like Voss and Norton and Patrice and all of them. They teased me out of it. We used to all sit there and trash each other, going, you know who you're doing and who you're doing, and I used to tell Patrice he was doing a little bit of Fred Sanford when he was going like, yeah, I kind of do like that thing with his face. So anyways.
Well, thank you, man. I don't want to I very much appreciate the good words.
Yeah. Well, look, I won't torture you any more compliments, but so how did you come up with the idea to do a special live? I mean, that's,
well, you were saying about Comedy Central does a lot of specials with comedians, and I've done a couple with them in the past, and I just wanted to do something different. You know
what I love about it is, the thing I hate the most about doing a special is afterwards when you have to watch the footage and edit and look at yourself and listen to yourself. I've always, for the most part, throughout all the specials I've done, the few that I've done, is whatever show felt better, I just go, just take that show and whittle that down to whatever time they need. Because I don't want to sit there and look at both shows. Then it's twice. I don't want to fucking deal with any. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I avoided it the way I do like a term paper. So back in the day. So I was thinking about how you're not going to have to do that. You're just going to go out. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's done. And then another thing too is, like, the only time comics do a special where they only have one show is if they don't have any budget. You clearly, at this point, you can afford to tape 2, 4, 6 shows if you wanted to. You're going to do it all in one. What is the game plan you got going into that? As far as, like, is there any, like, mindset that you're going into before that? Like, all right, Brian, just go out there, have a good time, and if something shits the bed, dress it and keep plowing forward. I mean, what are you going to
do? It's weird. Like, I don't want to overthink it. You know what I mean? Like, on the one hand, I just, I want it to be a show just like any other show. There just happens to be some cameras in there and some people out there in TV world watching it, But at the same time, I want to have a couple of things going on. Like, I've been talking to my manager. It's like, all it takes is one idiot in the audience that, wants to, have this be his moment. It's like, you can't watch golf. You can't watch golf without the guy hitting a tee shot. Go in the hole!
Yeah.
And you just go, geez, are you really that starved for attention? You got to yell that? What, are you going to go home and listen to yourself That was me. I yelled, "Go in the hole."
Get in the hole. Get in the hole. What do they say?
Yeah.
And they all say it, too. It's like you can't even come up with something original.
It's just, so I have this little fear, not a big one, because my audiences are pretty damn cool, but all it takes is one idiot in the audience who's like, oh, wow, it's going to be live. I can do something that,
right.
I can get some attention for myself. So,
but then something. Then if you trash them, then what that would actually do is it makes it like really unique, as far as like if somebody were to do that and then you were to trash them. Even if they were to kick him out, like live on the thing. I don't want to talk about this too much, but you have a great crowd anyways, to give anybody any ideas. But actually, the way you're looking at that, when I was trying to think, it's not like whenever I go do a show, I just do the show wire to wire and I don't screw up any jokes. You know what I mean? It's just when you're recording, it gets in your head like, oh, my God.
Right.
The documentation of that joke, I flubbed this word, and it's just like... You don't care when the cameras aren't there. So I would think that you would just get into, fuck it. This is just, I'm documenting my performance of this hour on this night, and this is how it came out. And then you just go out there. Is that what you're going to do? Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since I've recorded an hour. The last thing I did was about 5 years ago, and that was a CD. Mm-hmm. I get antsy, man. When I get material, I want to, I guess, a lot of people get material and they go, wow, this is good material. I want to keep doing it. I get to where it's like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this is really good. I'm sick of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like to record it so it's there. It exists. But now I can move on,
Exactly.
So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to is this material that I've been, kicking around for the last 4 or 5 years. And I look forward to just nailing it down and then being done with it. The week after that, it's probably going to be more fun for me, like just starting to play around and get back into some different stuff. But I'm really looking forward to it. But as far as the...
Do you have jokes in your act right now that you hate and you're actually thinking like, oh my God, not that you hate, but you're just so sick of telling them that you're like, I can't wait to record this so I can just be done with this joke.
I start bumping up to that and I try to resist it and fight it. And then like, as soon as I start feeling that way, I try not to do that bit for a month or two, so that when I redo it, it feels fresh. And this is a challenge because I'm coming up on this special and I need to have it in my bones to a degree, but not so into my bones where it's like you're a machine up there. You know what I mean? You don't want to suck the funny out of it, So it's a tightrope.
I always know which ones subconsciously. I don't even realize how much I hate certain jokes by the end of them. Is when once I do the special, it's just naturally the ones it's like you don't even make the choice. The ones that you hate, you just never do them again.
Right.
And I always think like, wow, man, I must have really hated that joke. I must have really been sick of doing that thing. But
it's funny to me is that it's just like in your normal progression. You come up with a bit, some new thing, and you're excited about it, and you have your hit list, right? Of here's something new I want to get to. Here's something relatively new I want to get to. And I'll look over that before I go on stage. But I don't have a list of the bits that I'm dropping.
Oh,
they just fall away.
Oh, they gone.
Just fall. There's something, like you say, about your subconscious that just goes, I've had enough of this one. And it's just gone. and then a year later you think and go, oh, wow, I used to do this bit about such and such. And it just fell away.
I never did it again after my special.
Yeah.
We got to take a real quick break here so I can do a little bit of advertising here. And I almost did the radio thing. I always think to do that. We're here with Brian Regan. like people don't listen to these things wire to wire. So I'm going to do a little bit of... You're going to listen to me read out loud here, everybody. And I will be back in a second. All right, everybody. Trunk Club. Trunk Club. Get your clothes in a trunk, you cunt. Trunk Club, everybody. Shopping is awful. Who has the patience for crowded stores? Ladies! They do. Or the time to run... I fucking hate computers. You know something? Every fucking motherfucking time I try to do anything on these fucking... I got a brand new fucking computer and somehow it's synced up to my fucking phone. So every time I have a text message, it goes ding, ding. And half the time it's behind. I already saw it on my fucking phone. I don't even understand these things on any level. I know what somebody's going to say. Go into your settings. You go into my settings. You figure out how to shut it off. Trunk Club, everybody. Shopping is awful. Who has the patience for crowded stores or the time to try on 10 pairs of pants that don't even fit well? Well, why don't you look at the sizes and pick a color, for Christ's sake? You need 10 of them? All right, but here's the problem. You still want to look great. Oh, I want to look great. And with Trunk Club, you never have to set foot in a horrific mall again. Please include all of the following points during your read. What do you think? I'm going to skip over stuff? Why would you include that sentence? You know I'm going to read it. Trunk Club takes the hassle, man, out of shopping by shipping you a trunk full of clothes that fit perfectly and make you look like $1 million with all the new fall styles. At trunkclub.com/Burr, you answer simple questions about your style, preferences, sizes, and are assigned an expert stylist. They'll curate clothes from the best premium brands, and you approve of what you like. The hell is this? Get it out of here. Just like that, a trunk arrives on your doorstep filled with hand-picked clothes that were hand-sewn by children in El Salvador that are perfect for you. Try them on. Keep what you like and easily return what you don't in their prepaid trunk. This is not a subscription service, so relax. You only pay for the clothes you keep from your trunk. No hidden charges, just great clothes. Get started today, and Trunk Club will style you for free, man. Plus free shipping both ways. You only have to pay for the clothes you keep. To take advantage, go to trunkclub.com/Burr. One last time, that's trunkclub.com/Burr for a trunk filled with clothes you'll love wearing. Oh, here we go. Ba-doop, boop, boop. MeUndies, no more sweaty balls. Ba-doop, doop, doop. MeUndies, wash them with concentrated all. And get the shit stains out of your crotch, but there'll be no ball sweat because they're nice and dry. Get yourself a pair of MeUndies, and your balls will feel like they're velvet. Oh, yeah. All right, MeUndies. We all know how sexy confidence can be. And that confidence comes from being comfortable. But how can you feel comfortable if your balls are stuck to the side of your leg? How can you feel great if your underwear is wrinkling and riding up? MeUndies gets it, and that's why they've created the world's most comfortable underwear. We had some of the smartest scientists with some of the sweatiest balls in the world to solve their own problem. And now they're passing that knowledge on to you for a daily dose of confidence. You wear underwear every day. That's 365 days a year, rain or shine. Sometimes you wear 2 pairs if you work out, right? Or if you have an accident. You need to be extraordinary without an insane price tag. You need it to be extraordinary without an insane price tag. MeUndies understands this, and that's why they've created the world's most comfortable underwear. Luxury at half the retail price you find anywhere else. When you look good, you feel great. It's a cliche because it's true. MeUndies understands this, and that's why they've designed underwear that makes you look and feel fantastic. Note, modal is pronounced modal. MeUndies is the modal, a fabric that is made from modal, a fabric that's twice as soft as cotton. For the life of me, I don't know why they don't have an accent on which syllable I'm supposed to stress. Modal. It's made of this shit that evidently makes your balls not sweat. That's twice as soft as whatever underwear you're wearing right now. MeUndies has tons of colors and styles, and the only place to get matching pairs for men and women. They even release a new design every month. I wear fill in the blank design, parentheses, black stripes, tie-dye, etc., end parentheses. Plus, we all know that paying for shipping, I wear the free ones they sent me. And you know what? They're great, especially when you're playing hockey. You know what I mean? If you don't want to go if you don't want to go commando, they fit nicely underneath your little hockey pants there. I heard Wayne Gretzky wore them in the 90s. He got them first. That's how good he was. He had MeUndies back then. All right, this is getting way too long. Plus, we all know that paying for shipping sucks, so MeUndies has removed that from the equation. All orders in the U.S. and Canada ship for free. MeUndies even has a money-back guarantee. If you don't love your first pair, you get to keep it for free. Well, why would you keep it? You don't like it. You get to throw it out, but no charge to you. You literally have nothing to lose. Offer/call to action. To sweeten the deal, MeUndies is offering you, yes you, 20% off your first order at MeUndies.com, MeUndies.com/Burr. That's a special offer just for my listeners and wherever else they advertise with. Make sure you go to MeUndies.com/Burr to get 20% off your first order, and so that they know we sent you. All right. I love when they say shipping is for free. It's no, you've rolled it into the cost of whatever the fuck you're selling. Oh, Jesus. All right, Dollar Shave Club, everybody. Hey, can you stop shaving with an old razor, for Christ's sake? It's gross. Why are you torturing yourself with a gross old blade week after week? Oh, that's right. Probably because you don't want to shell out $20 for a pack of new ones. Well, relax. Calm down. Your prayers have been answered. DollarShaveClub.com has revolutionized the way that men shave. With Dollar Shave Club, you can shave with a fresh blade as often as you want because they deliver a whole sleeve of amazing razors for just a few bucks a month. Their razors are so good, millions of guys have joined. Even the billion-dollar razor corporations are freaking out because instead of lowering their bloated prices, they're trying to fool you into... I can't read anymore, man. My eyes, I can't see shit. I like this conspiracy theory. Even the billion-dollar razor corporations are freaking out, but instead of lowering their bloated prices, they're trying to fool you into milking the same blade for an entire month, and that's gross. They've price gouged us for long enough. Goddamn right they have. Never go back to squeezing weeks and weeks of shaves out of a disgusting rusty blade. Join Dollar Shave Club and use a fresh blade whenever you want. It feels amazing, and it's a third of the price. Join the millions of others who figured out a smarter way to shave. Join DollarShaveClub.com right now by going to DollarShaveClub.com/Burr. That's DollarShaveClub.com/Burr. I love those guys because that was such a fucking ripoff. I thought about that years ago. I'm like, why is this little pack of horse shit blades? Why is it so much fucking money? You know what I mean? But I didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit of this guy. Christ, I could have made a zillion, huh? All right, let's keep going here. Two more, everybody. Stamps.com, everybody. Getting your mailing and shipping data. What? Getting your mailing and shipping done can seem like a no-win situation. Go to the post office. Going to the post office takes up valuable time. Sorry, guys, I took a red eye last night. I'm even worse than usual. Leasing a postage meter, expensive, with multi-year commitments and hidden fees. Luckily, I know a better way. What is it? You might have asked or might not have asked. Stamps.com. Just picturing you driving to work, zoned out, not even listening to me. With Stamps.com, buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package right from your desk using your own computer and printer. Even get special postage discounts you can't find at the post office. Plus, Stamps.com is more powerful than a postage meter at just a fraction of the cost. You can save up to 80% compared to the postage meter, and you'll avoid those time-consuming trips to the post office. I use Stamps.com to send out all my posters whenever I'm going to whore myself out on the road. You know what I mean? Stand out there and have people with sweaty armpits who are taller than me rest that hot armpit right on my shoulder. Gross. Right now, use my last name, Burr, for special offer 4-week trial plus $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Do not wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. You click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and you type in Burr. That's all there is to it. That's Stamps.com/Burr. No, Stamps.com, enter Burr. Sorry. And finally, lastly but not leastly, LegalZoom, everybody. Hey, you shouldn't have to choose a random lawyer who charges expensive hourly rates when you need legal help, should you? But the legal system is so complicated. What other choice do you have when you need help with your business or want to protect your family? Well, you can start with LegalZoom. They make it easy. For more than a decade, they provided a way for regular people like you and me to confidently navigate the legal system. LegalZoom's not a law firm, and that's how they provide such a great value. That is the weirdest sentence. Yeah, you know, we'll help you with your legal stuff. We're not legal people, but yeah, that's why we're so cheap. Hey, I'll fix your car. I'm not a mechanic, but dude, I'll do it for $10. There's got to be an answer to this in the next paragraph. LegalZoom's not a law firm, and that's how they provide such great value. They don't rely on charging you by the hour. Instead, you'll get transparent pricing and customer reviews so you know exactly what you're getting up front. Well, that's a good thing. If you need help with incorporations, LLCs, trademarks, oh, I get it. If you do this through a lawyer, they rip you off. They specifically do this. I get it. Sorry, LegalZoom. Last wills, living trusts, and more. LegalZoom's the smart choice. They got the right people on hand to answer your questions, and if you need legal advice, their network of independent attorneys can provide the straightforward guidance you need in most states. Don't let legal hurdles become an excuse. Go to LegalZoom.com today to start building your own future the right way. To save even more, enter Burr, B-U-R-R, in the referral box at checkout. That's LegalZoom.com, promo code Burr. And that's it. And now we're going to go back to Brian Regan. As you can tell probably at this point, he can't stand when I compliment him. You know, so I'll do it here when he can't hear it. He's one of my favorite comics of all time, and he's just the best, and he's the best, nicest, most humblest fucking guy ever. Absolutely love this guy. Here's more Brian Regan. All right. All right, and we're back. So I wanted to tell that story. One of the coolest things, it was the first time like I really got to hang out with you and meet you. I was playing the Comedy Works in Denver,
right?
One of the great all-time rooms, and you were playing like the United Center or the Pepsi Center or something in Denver. You were playing like where the Avalanche play or some shit.
Red Rocks, I think it was at Red Rocks.
Yeah, where you two shot that video.
Right.
Like a unbelievable, like 8,000 seater. And after you did your show, you still took the time to come in and catch my late show. And at that point, I don't think I had really... I'd met you a couple of times, but I never really got to hang out with you. And right before I went on, someone goes, hey, just so you know, Brian Regan's hanging in the back. He came in and wanted to check out your set. And it was the most ridiculous honor. I couldn't believe it. Then I was thinking, like, don't fucking go down into that crouch like you did back in 1995. He's gonna be like, this guy's fucking stealing from me. He's doing me with filthy words.
You're up there going, you too. Hey, wait a second.
No, I'd be like, you cunt. You cunt. My filthy ass. And then we ended up hanging out, and you were so complimentary and nice, and also something that I loved was you were like me. You were over 40 but hadn't quit drinking. I can't stand people that just can't fucking handle alcohol. I mean, right? I should talk right now. I'm going I shut it down every once in a while for like 70, 75 days, and by the time this podcast comes out, I'll be on like day 71. So,
well, it was funny in your set that night. You said that you weren't drinking. You said, I'm not drinking now or something like that. So I was thinking, oh man, we're not going to be able to have a couple cocktails after the show. And then we went out to the bar afterwards, and I said, I know you don't drink. And you were like, whoa, hold on. Yeah. Hold on, butchie boy.
Yeah. No, I was just like, Regan's here. If he's having a drink, I got to have a drink with Regan. There's no fucking way I'm not doing this. But I just take times off because I find, like one of the things that I cherish about being a stand-up comedian is the free time that I have. To pursue whatever the fuck I want to do, either just sitting on the couch. Like right now, it's a Saturday when we're taping this, and I'm taping 3 college football games, which I probably won't watch until like Monday or Tuesday. And I just love that I can just have a Tuesday that if I want to get up at 9 and have an English muffin and then just watch 3 college football games in a row like I'm some assistant coach watching game film, like I got to break them down for somebody. I just love that I can do that. But the dark side of all of that free time is I can go out and get hammered whenever I want to. And if I don't watch it, I will start drinking again like I did when I graduated high school. I just remember like 10 days after I graduated high school, my mother just walked in, classic her, just really stoic and right to the point was, your father and I think you've done enough celebrating. Was all she said. And that was her way of saying, dude, you're a fucking lush and you're going to end up in the gutter. So
celebrating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going out to like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It was so funny because I was young. I would go out, I would be absolutely fucking hammered. And by 8:30 in the morning, I was at my warehouse job unloading trucks. And all I had to do was make it to 10 when the roach coach came and eat like one of those sausages.
Right.
And then it just sort of leveled me out and I was fine. And somehow I still had a flat stomach. It was fucking... I didn't realize how lucky I was back then. So that's why I just go through periods of just sort of shutting it down.
To me, it's like it's a once every 2-month thing, like I know the night that I'm going to be able to get crazy and I'm careful and I'm not driving and I know I don't have anything to do the next day. I mean, like it's planned, when you're younger, you just wing it, hey, right. Let's go out. But now it's like it's in my calendar. I'm getting wrecked on the 28th.
See, I was hoping you were going to say once every 2 months you shut it down because you've been going too hard. You're like, once every 2 months I drink. I'm like, oh God, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. But I got I don't know, man. Like, I go on the road with my buddies. You know any of those guys? Jason Lawhead, Joe Bartnick, just these great guys that I go to the Rose Bowl with every year. Paul Bursey. They're part of that wave that came probably a couple waves after my graduating class. And they're all just guys, cigar smokers, like to go to sporting events and all of that. So it becomes like sort of a stand-up tour and a little bit of like a bachelor party kind of vibe, minus of course the hookers and the blow and all that type of shit. It's pretty mainstream. It's all above the board legal stuff. But, and what the funny thing is we get to the point like none of us, we'll be like, dude, we're not drinking tonight. We're not blah, blah, blah. And just there's something about the chemistry of all of us.
Really?
And the free time that we have that we just end up getting absolutely annihilated. Like some of the worst nights of drinking we have is like, dude, we'll go easy tonight, right? We'll just shut it down. We've been hitting hard the last 3 nights. So tonight we do the show, we get in bed, we hit the fucking hotel gym, and then we're on the road. Sounds good? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, Lawhead's hosting, he'll come off and be like, maybe I'll just have one heater. And then all of a sudden, and then it just, and then we're laughing as we're doing it. We're laughing. Just laughing at ourselves. So
it's like a game of chicken because I have 3 different golf weekends a year with brothers and friends, and it's just guy golf weekends. And I
don't even golf, and that sounds awesome.
Oh man, we golf during the day. We play Texas Hold'em at night, and I've got this bus, that we use for the golf weekends, and it's kind of cool. And sometimes we have a long...
Kind of cool. That's fucking awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah, we play golf. We get hammered. Texas Hold'em. We got a tour bus. It's kind of cool.
I got a poker table that was made to fit in the bus, so we can play Texas Hold'em while we're rolling. So anyway, you get in early. You get on the bus early sometimes, 7 a.m. You got a long haul to get to the... And there's like 12 guys, and it's like, who's going to be the first one to crack a beer, And because everybody's like having coffee and trying to look like they're sane and normal, they have a thing of orange juice. And we're all pretending like we're normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then one guy goes, hand me a Budweiser. And then next thing you know, 12 Budweisers are open.
And everybody just goes, the first guy goes, let me get a Budweiser. And everybody says, yeah, somebody's starting a little early.
Yeah, right. And then 5 minutes later, they're in,
Oh, the second you just hear it open, you're just like, dude, I got to get one of those. The last run I did with Bartnick, and we actually went to the hotel gym like every day. This is when I knew I was drinking too much and I had to kind of shut it down. I was getting all fucking bloaty and shit. And we had this thing that we did every day though. After we worked out, we came out of the hotel, we went onto the bus, and we had one Bud Light. And we knew we were just going to have one Bud Light because we had a show, and, we're older guys. If you have 2 drinks, you're going to have to nap for 9 hours.
Right.
Or you'd have to keep going, and you can go for like 12 hours, or you drink 2, and you're done. So we would have one, and because I knew I was just having the one, I would, like, savor it. Like, I would just be, like, sipping it like I was, like when you stole your dad's first beer. And it was, like, one of the highlights of the tour. It was a fucking Bud Light. I think I could figure out how to make that in a bathtub, like in Prohibition. But it was so fucking cold and delicious, just sitting there. And they had, the little TV there on the bus, and it just sat there. And we would always put on like Sports Center or something. And it was, and then the hardest thing was when you finished was not in that next 10 minutes to grab the next one. I found out like if I just could get through that 10 minutes and I grabbed the water. I started drinking that, like whatever that chemical need of like, yeah, man, let's have some more of that.
Yeah.
I would kind of wear off, and I was able to do my show. But it's something that I had
my brothers and some other friends out in Las Vegas where I live, and they were on a golf weekend. I lived there, and I was able to join them one night, and it was one of those nights where I said, I got a car for us, and
please call me on one of these nights.
Yeah,
I'll fly
love to
in for that shit.
Oh man, that would be fantastic.
That's when you know an alky. Call me in for the drinking.
When you're flying in,
oh yeah,
to drink. So
I don't play Texas Hold'em. I don't golf. I'll just be that guy. I'll be the guy so you're not guilty. I'll just open that first beer.
You'll be our designated first beer opener.
Yeah.
So we go out, and it was my, it's like, all right, I knew I could let loose, I didn't have my kids. I didn't have to drive, blah, 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 blah. So it was one of those deals where you wake up the next day and you're like, I don't quite remember the end of the evening. I swear, I look on the. I shouldn't be telling the story because of, but I
Nothing
see
you're going to say is going to be anything worse than I've done.
My shirt. I had a button-down shirt that I had worn the previous night. It's laying on the floor next to me on the bed on the floor next to the bed. I pick it up, and there's a tire mark across the back of it. A car tire mark, and I don't know how it got there. I'm like, what? I mean, a car couldn't have run me over. I mean, I'm alive. I'm in bed.
I think you went a little Will Ferrell. I think you took the shirt off. It was
literally a tire mark, and I had to call my brothers and go, how is a car tire mark on the back of my shirt? And they told me that we were getting in the car and that my foot hit the curb, and I kind of like tripped and fell on my back underneath the car, and like my back ended up against the car tire. They say, you don't remember that? I was having to pick you up and put you in a limo. And I'm like, damn.
Dude, you fell underneath a car.
Yeah.
Not into a car, not on a car.
I fell under it.
You fell under it without it moving. It's not like you got sucked under. That's like a trick shot.
Not even possible.
Yeah, that's a trick shot. Coming off a curb, I don't know how you could do that.
They said I did some weird kind of flip around and then ended up with my back up against a tire. I'm like, did you say I should go home after that? I hope those were your lines.
Yeah.
It's time for him to get home.
Joe DeRosa, another one of my great drinking buddies. He's got a buddy of his back home. You know when you have a beer and a shot, which is one of my favorite ways to start out. You know what I mean? Just sort of set the tone. And his buddy calls it bingo bango.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the greatest thing ever to me. He showed up one time. He had a shot and a beer, and Joe was just going like, hey, what do you got going on there? He goes, bingo bango. He just kind of went like with the shot, bingo bango. Hit this one, then I hit that one. I would think bango is would be the shot. Bingo's got to be the beer, right?
Well, you do the shot first and then the beer, right?
Yeah.
Shot and the beer.
So I would say bango bingo.
I was...
Look at me, I'm trying to rewrite it.
Out on the road, and... this guy ordered a bunch of Irish car bombs. Okay, you drop. It's a big, thick, black stout beer in a big glass.
Yeah, it's not. Is it a Guinness? What is it?
Maybe a Guinness.
Like and
then you take a shot of whiskey and you drop the shot glass into the beer, so the whiskey and the beer are all together, and then you chug the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, Irish car bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got the name wrong, and then the next time I was in that city, all these guys it was Philadelphia, and we all went to this like kind of cool, rough Philadelphia bar.
Yeah,
and it was this guy who we had done the Irish car bombs with, and his friends. So I'm trying to be like a guy, and I thought it was a mudslide. I thought that, which is like
a chick drink.
A chick drink. So I'm trying to fit in, and I went, who wants to do some mudslides? And my buddy, who was the one who did the Irish car bombs, looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, no. And now I don't want to back down. I'm like, oh, you guys don't want to do mudslides, huh? Like I keep pushing it. And they're all looking at me. So I go over to the bar, Mr. Big Shot, bartender, over here. Seven mudslides.
Set them up.
All of us. Mudslides. And so they set up all these chick drinks. And then next thing I know, we're doing like these light cream shots.
Oh, they all went with it?
Yeah, well, because they knew I was a comedian, and they were like, well, this is something this guy likes, I guess. They didn't want to, like, undercut me. And then my friend finally took me aside and go, what the hell are you doing here, man? And I went, this is what we did last time. He goes, those were Irish car bombs, man.
Dude, that's like a reoccurring thing with you. It's like, you're one of the smartest guys I know, but you're always saying I'm a moron and all that type of thing. You just always seem like to have these socially awkward... Do you know what? DeRosa did that. When he was in Boston hanging out with me, we did the shows over at the Wilbur. And afterwards, all my fucking knucklehead friends from high school, all my great friends, we were all drinking. And one of my buddies was really talking to DeRosa. Like, they just sort of hit it off.
Right.
And then, he walked over me once point. He goes, dude, what's up with your boy? I go, what do you, what's the matter? He goes, I just asked, what do you want for a drink? He wanted a White Russian. he goes, dude, I'm all set with that guy. So I'm laughing, thinking he's just breaking his balls. So later on in the night, after we go to leave, and I'm laughing, I go, Jerose, you know what's hilarious? When you ordered that White Russian, my buddy was breaking your balls to me, saying, he goes, dude, I'm done with that guy. And then Joe just goes, is that why he stopped talking to me? He wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the fucking night. He was dead serious, which killed me because that's such like a Boston thing where like that's that alone. I imagine Philly's the same way. If you were to order like the wrong, like someone's just, I like this guy, this guy's cool, and then all of a sudden you order something that's just a little too fucking soft.
Yeah.
Over.
Right.
You're dead to me.
Mudslides. I should get together with him. We'll do some mudslides and some White Russians, man.
White Russian chasers. All right.
Bingo bango. Bongo bingo.
Little sugar savory, sugar salt or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me make sure that I promote this thing. I'm sure this went by and yep, I knew it. 44 minutes already. Before I get out of here, I do want to bring this up. We have to talk about the time when we decided, for some reason, I'm going to say it was my idea, that we were going to do a show together. You know, and this is, of course, was I was like, not only is this guy the funniest dude ever, he also likes to drink. I have to do a weekend with this guy. But I knew that you were playing like these giant places. I think I was doing clubs or whatever. And so I was like, I'll open for you. I don't give a shit. And then you were like, hey, why don't we just do a club? You know, the whole excuse was for us to drink. So like, why don't we'll just do a club. We picked Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco. And it was just like, you know.
For charity.
For charity. And
so we figure we won't even make any money. It'll just be an excuse for you and I to hang.
To get together and drink. And I was going on first. You were going on second. And that's how I found out about the St. Jude's charity, which I still donate money to. And it just seemed like such a great idea in our heads. It's just like, yeah, it's, you know, I'm completely filthy. You're totally clean. They're gonna get the total stand-up white guy spectrum here.
Right.
And we went up there, and I go on stage, and your crowd was looking at me like, who is this angry leprechaun? And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give my set was about a 4. And then you go on stage. I'm going, all right, Regan's going to, or at least Regan. I felt bad. I was like, oh, man, I kind of bombed in front of his crowd and everything. And then you go on stage. I remember my sister was there. You were killing her. And then all my moron fans are sitting there looking at you like, he's been on stage for 8 minutes. He hasn't said fuck yet.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I killed either. I mean, I felt like you say, I did fine, but
I think we both did fine.
I don't like to do fine. You know what I mean? Fine is not what we want, but you know, it was like for a good cause. But yeah, I think it was like the two disparate, if that's the right word, you know, audiences.
Too big a gap.
Yeah.
And I remember afterwards sitting in the bar. And it was sort of like the elephant in the room that we both wanted to address, that we both just sort of did fine. And we were just sort of sitting there. It was ruining our night. Sitting there drinking. And then finally you brought it up. You were just like for 3 beers, you were just like, yeah, so hey, what did you, how'd you feel about that? I was like, I didn't think that went that good. And then we were sort of standing there, little buzz going like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? That was for charity. Like we said, we didn't have to be there. We almost got like pissed for a second. Then we just started laughing and realized that there was too big of a gap.
Well, it was a noble cause. You know what's weird about that, too, is I forget what the charity ended up being, American Heart Association or something like that? Or
I thought we did the St. Jude thing.
It was one of those two. But I remember
the American Cancer Society?
Something. But, you know, my manager's office contacted them that we were going to just donate all the money, and, like, they don't say yes right away. Which is weird to me. They're like, well, who are these guys? And I'm
that's
like,
right.
You know, and they want to know a little bit about us. It's like, wait a second, we're giving money. We're not asking you for money.
Yeah.
And it was like, you have to figure out how to give the money away. But
you know what I think that was? Because it was probably the way things are nowadays. Like if
they get associated with something,
with somebody, who
controversial or
whatever. Like say Donald Trump, the week he said, you know, I guess evidently all Mexicans are rapists. He was saying something to that effect. And if he was to donate them money, like the blowback could go onto them, like, you're accepting money from a known racist? And they're like, hey, we're trying to cure cancer here.
Right.
You know? So anyway, yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It was a good time.
I probably shouldn't have brought that up.
No, it was great, man. It was a blast, and I thought we had a great time that night hanging out. So it was cool.
Well, I would like to have done a little better. I'm not going to lie to you. It still fucking bugs me. I think I probably said that during my set. Like, dude, you understand? I don't have to fucking be here right now. It's like I'm working for free. Can you
know what we should do?
Can you give it up a little bit?
We should do like the opposite extreme. Like, I should perform in front of your crowd, and then I'll get a 1 out of 10, and you get a 10 out of 10, and then you could perform in front of my crowd. And have
maybe we need somebody to feature to kind of sort of bridge
the two worlds. Yeah,
like a David Feldman, because he's an unbelievable comedian, unbelievable joke writer, but he will out of nowhere say cunt on stage. Maybe, I don't know. Are you a sports fan, Brian?
I like sports, but I'm always reluctant to say I'm a sports fan because then I immediately get hit with the question I can't answer. I grew up in Miami. I'm a Dolphins fan. I like football, and I like golf.
You know what's the great thing about you coming out of Florida? Florida has a bad reputation for comedians. Like, they try to say that a bunch of hacks come out of there, and then you're always the go-to guy. They're like, fuck you. They're like, Brian Regan. They'd always name 3. I forget who the other 2 are, but every city, I think, kind of just has 3 good ones. Every state at this point. I mean, there's only like the top 100, right? Comedians. You got 50 states. You got two. You got two
from each state.
Yeah.
Who are the 2 from Rhode Island?
That's funny. Everybody's got that. Oh, I was trying to steer the conversation towards sports because I've been defending my New England Patriots as they've literally become like the fucking Antichrist. The Antichrist, however you're supposed to say it, and just now at this point, like after the 9 millionth thing that we've been accused of course, just accused. Nothing has ever been proven other than that we cheated for one game in 2007 where we filmed the Jets. And then a bunch of people were like, well, then your Super Bowl championship shouldn't count. It's like, yeah, they should, because it wasn't against the rules for us to be doing what everybody else was fucking doing. We just ignored them, and we cheated against the Jets, and we got ratted out by fucking Mangini. Other than that, it's just been a bunch of fucking hearsay. And I was just hoping you would either 100% agree with me or 100% disagree with me, and we get into an epic argument about it. What? You're into golf? Do you watch tennis at all? Did you see Serena lost?
I saw that she lost, yeah.
That was devastating to me. That's why I hate watching tennis and golf. Those are the 2 most brutal. It's all on you. It's like doing stand up on a late night talk show. If you go out and fucking bomb, it's like you're out there with somebody else. It's just 100% you.
Right.
Trying to keep your emotions in check. Like the first time I actually sat and I watched a golf tournament wire to wire, I watched the Masters in, I think, 2007. It was when the wheels came off with Kenny Perry.
Oh.
And I was watching that whole thing, rooting for this guy, and he's never won it, and he's going to win his first major, blah, blah, blah. The guy was like 3 fucking holes away. The wheel, and I saw his kids go from tears of joy to devastation, like the guy died. And I later heard that when he lost, he didn't even talk to his family. I'm sure he said a couple of words. He just got in his car and just started driving. And I remember being, as a sports fan, so upset that I actually sat and watched that happen to a fellow human being. I felt horrible. I felt like I was looking at an
execution. It's like you're watching an execution almost, you know. But, I mean, there are similarities between that and what we do. You know, it's like you have a horrible set somewhere, especially on TV, you know.
But at least you can blame the crowd on some level. You can stand, not on TV, but in like at a comedy club. Fuck you, people. You can do something to try to do something to at least have some sort of.
You're better at that than I am, man.
Minor victory in it. They just have to sit there and as people are commentating, who would never have the will or the skill to do what they're doing, and just be sitting there going, oh, the wheels are just coming off right now. You can see he's just visibly upset. He's perspiring. And they're just sitting there just giving play-by-play. Nobody, like, when you bomb as a comic, as bad as it gets, there's nobody giving play-by-play doing that mystery science theater thing as you're doing it. That's all I'm saying. So I like golf. I actually love tennis, but I like watching somebody. I was in France this year, and I went to the French Open finals, and I was so excited to see Djokovic win the French, and then he would have won on all surfaces, and he would have become part of this short list. And he won the first set. And after he won it, he looked over at his coach, and he fucking did like that Tiger Woods fist pump. And I was like, oh, man, this guy's dialed in. He's fucking dialed in. He lost the next 3 straight.
Oh, man.
And it was great to see that Wawrinka guy win his first one. But
that's one thing that is so great about sports is if you do win a championship or you do win something, you have that eureka moment where you can jump up and down and celebrate and hug people. Most jobs don't have that line in the sand moment, where you can just go, yeah, you go to work 9 to 5 and you do what you're supposed to do. You don't have some moment where you're just jumping up and down on your desk, So I envy that.
They should do that for people every Friday when it's like 4:59 and they're like, do that 1 minute left in the period like they used to do in the Boston Garden.
Yeah,
and then
that would be good.
The whole
a countdown.
Yeah, from 10.
9, 8, 7, 6, and
people got the goggles on, spraying champagne and all that shit.
And then you go home for the weekend. Like, we did it. We had a good week at work.
That might actually be a morale booster, especially for like some shit fucking job.
I think that would be a great idea. Yeah, you have your weekly countdown, man. You send everybody home in a good mood.
Absolutely. Well, dude, I gotta wrap this thing up. I gotta do some more advertising here, but it's been an absolute pleasure as a fan of the art of stand-up comedy to watch as much as your career as I've seen, and to actually, when you came down to the the Comedy Works. That is still and always will be one of the biggest highlights of my career, and I will definitely be there. What is the date of when you're shooting it here? I got
September 26th, a Saturday, 9 o'clock on Eastern time, and I don't know what time it'll be on all the other time zones, but 9 o'clock Eastern on Comedy Central. Bill, you're the best, man.
Live stand-up comedy special ever.
First live special on Comedy Central. I think HBO has done one. I think Seinfeld did a live special on HBO, but this is Comedy Central's first one. So
it's incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
Hey, listen, man, I think you're great. I've always loved your comedy. I've always loved your perspective. I love
cursing.
I love your cursing. I love your drinking.
Yes.
No, man. And so I just wanted to return the compliment, man. That's why we wanted to come down to see you, because you're great.
Well, I appreciate that. And next time you are boozing, I don't play Texas Hold'em or golf. I'll learn the Texas Hold'em. Golf, I can keep it on the course. Hit me up, dude.
I'll fly in.
I'll tell my wife I'm doing a corporate gig. I just won't show up with any money afterwards. All right, please tune in September 26th at 9 p.m. on Comedy Central Eastern Time to watch their first live stand-up comedy special with one of the greatest comedians of all time, Brian Regan. Thank you so much for coming on, Brian.
Thank you, Bill.
All right.